So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hi, villains, and welcome to For the Love of Pomegranate podcasting, a preview of the Brighton game. But we didn't get to talk to Paddy after the Newcastle game, so I just said to him there we're going to do 5 minutes or so on a Newcastle game review. If anybody is sick of hearing about or doesn't want to hear about the Newcastle game, come back to us again in 5 minutes, because we do want to talk about the Brighton game, and it's a game that I've got high hopes for. I'll be honest with you, and I'll tell you why in 5 minutes or so. But first, Paddy, how was your Christmas? I've barely been speaking to you at all over Christmas. It's been absolutely hectic for me. I don't know what it's been.
Yeah, it's a hectic time, isn't it? And yeah, I'm sick as well, which isn't helping. But yeah, not as sick as I was on St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day, I can tell you for sure. And the subsequent days have come after. But yeah, nice Christmas with the family, and got to see my mother and father, and it's all good, and everything is rosy, isn't it, in the Villa world?
Look, it could be worse. We could be Wolves, or we could be Birmingham, or we could be, we could be in one of our other Midlands neighbours. But it all is not lost for Aston Villa for sure. But it was lost on St. Stephen's Day, Boxing Day, Paddy, against Newcastle United. I had my say in it. I've siloed the red card in one instance. I was really pissed off with the early goal concession and the fact that we didn't really show much of a bite back or fight back. And then the red card was just like, there was no way we were getting back into the game after that. But I suppose, what was your view on and I just want to reiterate that again, I'm more pissed off at the early concession of the goal, because it really set the tone, and we didn't look like we were at the races after we conceded that goal even, and then, as I say, it was compounded by the red card. Talk to me, Paddy. Talk to me about about your views in the game.
This is what makes us a little bit different, I think, because I was of the opinion that when the sending off came, we were getting back into the game and we were coming into our flow, and it just completely, threw us off course. Obviously, I was disappointed to concede early. I'm even more disappointed because, the narrative seems to be, sure, 1-0 down, you're going to lose anyway. And when the sending off came, and I looked at it and I tried to be logical and sane about it, I said, right, I'm used to two fucking idiots getting this wrong. But what I can't deal with is every pundit that talks about the game said that was a harsh yellow card or harsh red card. That'll be rescinded. Every single pundit. Most fans, except that fucking weird bunch that wear black and white. What the fuck is wrong with them and their fake fucking rivalry? I don't know. They need to fucking get over themselves. Because this will happen to them eventually, and I'll have a right good fucking laugh when they do. What a fucking gobshite shower of fucking fans. They absolutely drove me mad for the last few days. But anyway, the biggest problem I have is this was heard too quickly for me. It was done within 24 hours. We got the statement from Monchi. We got the statement from Damian Vidigani. We haven't really heard from Unai Emery about it other than straight after the game. And I think everybody was just of the opinion, this is going to be rescinded. And I can kind of take it when they admit they're wrong. But this is one of the worst decisions. If they're telling me that they had enough people in the room to make the decision that this wasn't going to be rescinded, not just one gobshite sitting there going, sure, two referees said it was a red card, so it's a red card. It's absolutely bonkers.
Paddy, do we know if and someone posed this question? It was a really good question. I saw it on Twitter, and I've not seen anybody confirm it. Do we know whether it was refused on the grounds for appeal, or do we know whether the appeal was heard and refused? Nothing has ever come out on that. And somebody made an argument that it could have been refused on the grounds of appeal due to the speed of either way it doesn't make a difference. But like, if you have transparency within the system, like that first of all, it should be announced by, and it could have been, I might have missed it. As I say, life has been incredibly hectic the last couple of days. Like, the first I saw of it was Vidagani and Monchi. Then I saw Aston Villa put up something on it. The Premier League put something out with regards to it. Did they? Did the Premier League put out something with regards to it? I
haven't seen anything other than the club's official announcement and Monchi and Vidagani's announcement.
I saw BBC's BBC. I saw Monchi, then BBC, then the club. That's the way I saw it. But like, that's what I'd like to know is, what was it? Why was there no appeal? And look, and I know, Paddy, I said I'd let you talk about this, but like, there are a lot of things, like Bruno Fernandes getting his red card rescinded against Spurs at the start of the year. Look, I know when you look at it, like, no one's saying that Duran didn't trod on Schär. It's the circumstance leading to it is the thing. But the other part about it is,
trod now is a fucking, it's a strong word to be used. What actually happened?
No, but like,
he slid across it.
He studs made contact with Schär. Okay, all right, whatever.
He slid across.
Like, there was
absolutely no malice whatsoever. Trying to get out of the fucking way. The malice was all on the other side. It was Schär that lifted the legs and caught him first. And nothing said about that. But in my view, any referee that would have looked at that should have looked at both sides of what actually happened, slowed it down and look how the ankle rolled as well, and realised he was out of control. The ankle rolled because he was kicked in the bollocks. Call a spade a spade. Anyway,
yes, so like, but the annoying thing is to say is that, like, when there's this full levels of transparency and everything like that, in some instances for some players in some games, and then there isn't then, and it's the club announces it here, and there's nothing. I don't know. Now I've no problem saying the FA have not mentioned anything about this, but this was front page news. Like, this was big news in the aftermath. Every single outlet was talking about it and had a tweet out about it. Is this a red card? And it split decision, and it split the bit. Like, there's a lot of neutral fans were saying it was, a lot of neutral fans were saying it wasn't, and Shiro was saying it wasn't. You know, even Eddie Howe said it was harsh. And then the FA don't say a thing about it. PGMOL don't say a thing about it. No, they could have. I just haven't seen it. And that's why I asked the question. Yeah. For me, like, this is how you gain respect. You go, in the aftermath of the Aston Villa and Newcastle game, there was a lot of discussion about a red card that was handed out by Anthony Taylor. On review of this, garnering the appeal or listening to both sides of the appeal and looking at the referee's match report, blah, 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 blah. This is the decision and this is why. And then fans and teams can go, all right, listen, I can get stuck into this, or I can say, right, look, we didn't have grounds for appeal on this basis, blah, 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 whatever the case may be. But nobody knows. And that's the biggest problem here, is that it's like, it's not going to shut anybody up who's saying that there is bias or anything like that with regards to it. And they don't seem to be one bit interested in doing that, especially when you've got a referee who stood down for essentially, you know, holding it, well, look, for a multitude of issues in a massive high profile thing. PGMOL just don't really care. They don't care. And that to me is the galling part of it so far. Yeah. You know,
like, I put out a suggestion on Twitter that we do the Premier League anthem. A lot of people agreed with me, a lot of people didn't. But from my point of view, what else can we actually fucking do? How else can we get our voice heard? Because it's blatantly obvious. There's 7 occasions already this season where there was dubious decisions made against us, starting with the opening day of the season.
I sent you a list of them. I sent you a list of them, actually, didn't I? Matty Cash.
Michael Jacob sent it to me the other day.
Did he
have them to hand?
I'm going to bring them up here.
We've had 3 in 10 days. We've had this episode. We've had the 2 against Nottingham Forest. 2 in 10 days. 3 in 10 days, I should say.
Yeah, so like you look the penalty against West Ham despite Matty Cash winning the ball. Morrissey's second yellow card not given against Ipswich. Rashford's second yellow card not given against Man United. Philogene red card against Fulham. Liverpool penalties, Watkins and Torres. What I would say, Torres is one in that one. Forest penalty on Rodgers, and then Newcastle Duran's red card. So look, they're just what that was just something that I was sent as well. Some of them I don't even remember, but definitely there's some of them that I do. Look, I'm not saying that anyone's out to get us or anything like that, but I think they're in a fair muddle at the moment, PGMOL, and it's all of their own making. It's all of their own making. They cannot get out of their way. They have a loaded gun in their pocket the whole time. They're shooting themselves in the foot on a weekly basis, and they don't need to. They don't need to do this crack. Like, that's the problem. They can take all the time in the world. And the next person that I see on the internet that suggests that you get a decision wrong because VAR takes too long for a red card, whatever about offsides and stuff like that. But for a red card, it's complete nonsense. Get the decisions right, and nobody will have a problem with you. Everybody has all day to wait for the right decision. I don't care who or what the situation is. Anyway.
Not everybody agrees with that. I agree with it. I also have an issue with the phrases that are fucking been hidden behind. And Howard Webb keeps saying we don't want to re-referee the game. That's the fucking purpose of VAR.
That's the purpose of VAR.
Yeah, re-referee the game. We want to get the right decisions. We want fair play. That is the fucking FIFA motto. But there is zero fair play in this league. If you're at the top, we saw the Southampton goal that was disallowed a few weeks ago. Absolutely farcical. If that's Arsenal or Liverpool, that goal is allowed. I don't care. Anyway.
But like, I'm going to say something that's probably controversial here. I actually don't think I have an issue with Anthony Taylor going to the monitor, looking at it for a minute and a half, and going, "I'm going to give a red card here." I actually, do you know what? I go, okay, you've seen something completely different to me, but at least you've gone out of your way to see it, see what you've seen. Yeah. He hasn't done anything. He stopped. He gave a throw and he stops, he waits, he gives the red card. Now, if he's as certain about that, why isn't he running over to give the red card straight away? But look, there's a lot in it. Referees are told, take your time or whatever, but he gives the throw-in to Aston Villa. He points for the throw-in to Aston Villa, sees the reaction at Dubravka running out, and then stops, waits, gives the red card. Listens, I suppose, to what's being said and so on. Look, once again, we're going to stop it at this because we've 12 minutes as opposed to the
and remember, there is previous with Newcastle as well, which is a mitigating factor too. So 2 wrongs make a right, obviously, for PGMOL, and that's a fucking issue across the board with these lads. So I had a problem with David Coote. Did David Coote know that video was coming out just before he refereed our Liverpool game? Maybe he did. Maybe that's why there was penalties waved away.
There's no way he knew that video was coming out before the Liverpool game, I don't think. Because he was in an absolute panic when it did.
I have zero faith in any of them. Absolutely any of them.
Oh, his message directly afterwards when it came out was absolutely hysterically funny. It's claiming it was a deep fake. Coots claiming it was AI generated and everything like this. No, there's no way. They're the words of a man who absolutely panicked and let it run down his leg when that came out. Absolutely. But anyway, we'll get on to it.
But hang on, just one more thing. Then you fast forward 24 hours and a Brighton player nearly decapitates somebody, and because he missed, he doesn't get it. We also saw Jack Grealish last weekend fire a forearm across the head of John McGinn, and luckily John McGinn ducked. Actually, not unluckily. I would have liked that to land. I would have liked the one last night to land, just to see how these pricks fucking deal with that and have to fucking make a decision. Nobody in their right mind in Brighton would have complained if he was sent off on whatever night it was.
Remember when the rule was brought in? Remember Lee Hendry got a red card for simulating a headbutt on somebody. Obviously years ago. Simulating a headbutt, and there was a good. He was a good bit away. Look, I'm not advocating that Joe Pedro is banned or whatever. I was
he won't be.
about Cunha. No, he won't be. I was about Cunha should be banned. Cunha's still playing football, scoring goals and making assists at the moment. Anyway, whatever about that, that's another thing. And everybody's wondering what the story is going to happen there. It looks like the Premier League just forgot all about that. And that's fine. That's their prerogative. Once again, come out and tell people why. That's all we want. That's all we want. Have a set of stones and come out and say it and stand over your decisions. But look, I'll go back to it and I'll say that if we continue to concede early goals again as well, regardless of sendings off, if we continue to concede goals in the first 90 seconds, I will start getting really, really, really worked up about.
Doesn't mean the game is over though. It's not a mitigating factor in this.
Well, I
it's a
think
90 it's a
I
90-minute game. We were coming back into the game, and that happened.
I know. I know. We could also say that teams with 10 men have come back from 1-0 down on 1-2-1 as well.
Yeah.
So the good red card is in the mitigating factor. So enough, my anti balls and all that. But we've conceded we haven't gotten an awful lot of red cards this year, but we've conceded an awful lot of goals early, and there's a really annoying point. If we go into Brighton at the weekend and we concede an early goal, it's going to be really, really tough. Like, it's going to be really tough again, and that's shooting yourself in the foot. I talked about PGMOL shooting themselves in the foot. Like, we did it again. We've done it against Crystal Palace. We've done it a couple of other times this year. Conceded really early, and then you're on the back foot, and it throws your game plan out the window. Now, against Brighton at the weekend, Paddy, we're going to be without Matty Cash as well. So, talking about game plans, what do you do with the back four, back five? What do you do with that?
Look, we've discussed off air. It's nearly impossible to second guess what he's going to do. For me, against Brighton, I would go with the back three. I would put Carlos, or it will be Carlos and Pau with Cons on the right, and play Nedeljkovic in that wing back position, which I think he's well able to play, and then whoever he chooses on the left hand side. That's what I would do. I think they're there for the taking. I think they're 7 games without a win now. They haven't won since November, despite the fact that they're up around us, which is absolutely bonkers. We can't afford any Tonkins. We're way behind on goal difference. The goal difference is keeping us well down the pecking order. We need to start putting things right. We need to start putting teams to bed early. It has to start in these next run of games, because we have a run of games that is you take Arsenal out of the next month, we've got all those games that we can win. I'm expecting us to win tomorrow. I'm expecting us to come out fighting tomorrow. Then we've got Leicester. Then we've West Ham at the end of the month. Arsenal in before that. There's so much going on. With obviously you've got the FA Cup game in there. 2 Champions League games. So it's a busy month. And I think we have to nail the hammer and really put teams to bed in these next couple of games. It has to be done. Otherwise, we're going to be cut adrift. And as far as I'm concerned, that will be the Premier League and PGMOL getting their way. So we need to fight back as a club. I read Damian Vidigani's statement where he said, we'll treat it like gentlemen or act like gentlemen. And in my opinion, if you go back down through the years, Jock Stein, Bob Paisley, Bill Shankly, Nigel or Brian Clough, Alex Ferguson, Arsene Wenger, none of those treated anybody with any respect. They would stamp on their fucking mother to get the result for the team. That is how champions in England have acted all throughout the years. I went through all the Premier League winners, with the exception of probably Ranieri. I couldn't think of another one that wasn't a fucking bully and bullied officials. The Premier League gave out about fucking times that they were playing at, all that kind of thing, and got what they wanted in the end. So we have to be a little bit dirty. We have to be a little bit nasty, and we have to put our hands up and say, fuck you. We deserve the respect that everybody else is getting, and we're not getting it.
I think we'll go with a 3 at the back anyway, Paddy. I think we will as well. I think we'll go with a 3 at the back. I think, but I'm not as cut and dry with Carlos as you are. If we're with
Gareth says it here. It could be Mings in a 3. He was going to play Mings against Forest after all.
That's exactly what I was going to say. I think Mings will be in there in this. I think it'll be a 3. I think if you're going to play Nedeljkovic, probably the safest way to do it is in a with a back 5. Now he could play Bailey out there too. Bailey is back. I don't think that's beyond the realms of possibility to do that, but I think you go with Nedeljkovic. I think you keep it kind of safe enough. You go with your midfield 3 and you go with Rodgers and Watkins, Rodgers off Watkins, and you keep that industry in midfield, because like they're going to have Matt O'Reilly, they're going to have Baleba, they're going to have Baraka Gruda, they're going to have Mitoma there as well. All really, really, really good players. And I think he's going to want to I think he's going to play the 3 because he's going to want to protect against those guys, those runs from Gruda, those runs from Mitoma as well. Like I wouldn't even be surprised to see Maatsen come in the left hand side. I don't think it will happen, but it wouldn't surprise me to see a bit of squad rotation. Maatsen come in the left, Ijelkovic in the right, and see what happens in that aspect. Get that pace in there if we are going with a back 3 or back 5 or whatever way you want to look at it. But Ollie Watkins is definitely going to be up front anyway. We know that. It's mad. Ollie Watkins is still our joint top scorer. Well, he still is our top scorer in the Premier League, along with John Duran, and 7 goals. So 3 games for him now to kickstart again and get back going once more. He's had a bit of a break. He's got a great scoring record against Brighton. I will be backing him to score at the weekend anytime. And it could be a hell of a lot worse. We could be throwing in Mason Kotcher or somebody from our subs or from our under 23s team in there straight away. We've got Ollie Watkins, an England international, to come in, and we know exactly how he's going to link up with everybody else within that team. And it's the drop off is going to be that yes, we're not going to have that maverick capability, but the plus point is it's somebody that we've seen for the last 4.5 years play in this team and score 80 odd goals for Aston Villa. So where is the drop off, I suppose, in the greater scheme of things? And that they're really the two only kind of talking points. What happens at the back and what happens? Does Watkins come back into this rejuvenated? He's the main man. He will be the main man. He knows he's got 3 games now, regardless of injuries. He's going to keep him out. Whenever he's been doubted before, and whenever he's been kind of shuffled around, he's come out fighting. I think Danny Ings, Ollie Watkins, Ings gets sold, Watkins goes on and scores. I think it was 11 goals in 11 games or something like that afterwards in the run into us getting 7th. So let's hope we act again.
Well, he scored 7. He played the majority of the minutes. We are now playing our last game of the first round of matches, so we're halfway through the season after tomorrow. He needs to kickstart for himself, for us, for the team. It has to start now, and I'm pretty sure that the management will be putting that pressure on him. With what he's got behind him, you'd have to think the likes of Tielemans is going to create chances for him, as is Rodgers. He's got to start taking them. He's got to be more clinical in front of goal. So while he's probably our best striker, that's why he played the most minutes. That's what Unai Emery thinks of him. He's dropped them in the last few games. Fair enough. Duran has deserved that run. So he's got his opportunity now. He needs to go and grab that with 2 hands and absolutely own the next 3 games and make sure that when it comes to that Arsenal game that he starts, because he's on a roll. That's the way it needs to be.
I think so too. Look, I think, yeah. Look, he's played. I was just checking to see how many minutes he's played. He's played. So Duran has played roughly in and around half the minutes that Ollie Watkins has this year, and he has the same amount of goals as him. I suppose the reality is as well. Obviously coming and playing against good opposition. Duran has come in and he's scored goals against him. Take nothing away. Look, it's a great thing. A lot of people treat this Watkins Duran thing as you have to have one or the other. It's Mings and Watkins was like that, and I think it should have been like that because I think they were very even. But I think these two guys, I think there's a good. There were, but I think these guys, they're completely different forwards. Number one, and one is 28, and one of them is 20. One of them's on his career arc upwards, and the other one is arguably at his peak. And there's a lot of discussion around that. There should be a lot of discussion around it. Sorry there, no, just give me 2 seconds. I'm just doing a small bit of maths here. But Paddy, if I was to say to you, the reason I was getting at this was that, a lot of people will say, oh, Watkins misses too many big chances. He missed 15 big chances this year. When you break that down with regards to them, and this is where statistics come around.
Top of the league.
15, don't get me wrong, I'm not making any excuses for these. But when you break down to missed chances per minute played, how many if he's missed 15, how many per minute, how many per But you know what I'm trying to say? So if he's played 1,189 minutes and he's missed 15 big chances, what is it in a minutes basis? So he misses one big chance once every 79 minutes. John Duran misses one big chance every 84 minutes. Now, it's just 5 minutes in a difference there because he's missed 7. He's played 542 odd minutes or whatever. Watkins has missed 15. He's played 1189. So
they're big chances, though. Is that what the statistic is? A big chance?
Big chances missed. Yeah, big chances missed. Yeah, big chances missed. And it's both of them going from SofaScore and just in the Premier League this season.
Yeah.
So,
and Ollie Watkins is way ahead. He's 5 or 6 ahead of the next person.
I know.
On big chances.
I know. And I'm not saying that he shouldn't have scored those goals. I'm just saying that if he misses one every 79 minutes and Duran misses one every 84 minutes, you could manipulate statistics to look whatever way you want. That's what I'm saying here. So when you look at the big number, you say, when you look at the big number, you say, Jesus Christ, he must be shit. Does big chances go? And look, it's not my job to tell people what a big missed chance is. Go and look it up in SofaScore yourself and figure it out. But what I'm saying is that this is not me suggesting that he hasn't missed those chances and that he was right not to score those chances and that we should woe is him, we should feel sorry for him. I'm just saying that big chances missed. He misses one at the same level roughly per minute basis as John Duran does based on the minutes played. So he's missed too many, absolutely has missed too many, and he needs to get that right. He needs to get that right as we go forward. So that's all I'm saying on that.
And football is different at different types of at different games and different game times.
Absolutely.
We're talking about John Duran, who's classed as a super sub, is getting himself into the box and trying to blast it through a bunch of players. Is that a big? I don't know what way they So some of the statistics are just ridiculous. But we know the eye test will tell you straight away that Ollie Watkins needs to be more clinical. Simple as that.
Absolutely. 100%.
And the eye test will tell you that Ollie Watkins is the better player of the two at the moment. Has been in build-up play, in work off the ball, in getting into those positions where the chances are. He's a completely different player. He is our best striker. He just needs to score goals. Or more of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I was getting at here before anybody starts putting in, and I can fucking hear him being written as we speak. Stop defending Ollie Watkins. No, you have to defend your players because he's a bloody good player. You know, and it's
I just defended him.
No, and I know, but it's not even about but the thing, and that's the reason I said it. This is not a Watkins versus Duran thing at all. It's just, you know, this, like, sometimes we hear something and we go, oh, that must be the case. And look, we know he missed chances. His missed chance rate is similar to what it was last season and the season before. But he still comes out with you know, big goal numbers at the end of the year. Could they be bigger? They absolutely could. It's always a failing of his. That's something we've been speaking about 3 or 4 years ago, you know. But and we want him to get better at it. Will he get better at it?
I mentioned to you earlier that we have a problem with goal difference.
Yes,
he scores half of them. He scores half of them chances. Our goal difference is nowhere near as bad as it is.
Absolutely,
simple as that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
no.
We'll move on. There's nobody bashing Ollie Watkins here. It's just we know the eye tests are telling us that we know he needs to score more goals.
Exactly, and that was my point. Is he's got an opportunity to do that now. He loves a goal against Brighton. Brighton will leave space. Brighton's two centre halves, Dunk and Van Heck, is it? The other lad, those two guys. They still have Veltman out on that right hand side. They still have Veltman. Do you know what? I'm a sucker for these guys who've longevity that almost play outside their station. Not a bad player, but you know, you can't move him. He's immovable out there on that right hand side. You know, he usurped Tariq Lamptey, and people were talking about Lamptey being a 70-80 million pound player 4 years ago. A couple of injuries, and now he's nowhere near it. Fair play to him. And then they've got Estupinian on the other side, who has probably regressed, I think, over the last couple of years. I think that's fair to say.
Agreed.
You know, came in, hit the ground running. If Ferdy Kadoglu was here, he'd probably be playing, maybe would be playing in that position. But they're going to be missing Matt Sweefer. They're going to be missing Danny Welbeck, who is their top scorer, 6 goals. They're going to be missing him. Evan Ferguson is going to be out. James Milner is going to be out as well. And Adam Webster and Hinchelwood are also going to be out too. So they're going to be playing from a shuffled deck from what's going to be on their bench as well. But we know them; they've probably got some South American 14-year-old that they're going to just whip out somewhere there, and he's going to be absolutely superb because their pivot players are the players that I'm going to be putting a lot of my spotlight on in Baleba and Matt O'Reilly. Everybody who listens to this podcast or has ever followed a tweet of mine on Twitter will know Matt O'Reilly is somebody that I've loved for the last 5 years. I would go so far as to say he's been really good at Celtic. They picked him up for pretty much a song, I think, for what he's capable of. Bad injury, but he's coming back into himself now, and he's a force to be reckoned with in midfield. Somebody that I think a lot of other teams wanted to spend that money on, but we're kind of a small bit. Should we be spending this money on somebody coming from Scotland? And Brighton bit the bullet with it and got the deal over the line.
And bought him on analytics, as Brighton do. That's how they pick their players. And you say everybody is either on one side or the other with analytics. But the eye test will tell you. And as you said, we've watched him for the last 4 years playing for Celtic, and he just has so much potential. And it was a good move for him, I think, to go to Brighton. It was a team where we knew we were going to play. And he's definitely someone that we've got to watch out for. Got to watch out for Enciso as well. If he's fit, there is some question over that. Nasty little shit can do anything. Right?
Yeah.
João Pedro, obviously. Yeah. I think if João Pedro goes into a tackle in the first few minutes, he's getting a yellow card tomorrow.
There's a possibility there. There's a possibility that there might be a retrospective yellow card there for him. But look.
But they have,
as I say,
Solly March is there as well, who's obviously destroyed us in the past. There's plenty of players. Adingra. There is enough there to challenge, but you'd have to think in the adversity we're in after the other day and how pissed off everyone is that they will be up for it. I'm actually annoyed I'm not going because I think the atmosphere is going to be great tomorrow.
But you're right, Paddy. I think there will be very much of a feeling from the players, from Unai Emery. Like, Unai Emery was as sour as I've ever seen him after that game against Newcastle. You could see it in his face. Like, he had a mouthful of razor blades. And if you think
part of that was the early goal conceded as well, and that's fair
exactly
enough.
What yeah. So I do think he discussed the sending off. He was always going to do that in the aftermath. But I can still guarantee you he pointed a couple of fingers in the dressing room afterwards. And
I'm sure he did.
Because he couldn't have been happy with the qualities, and he must be getting sick of the kind of turning your back to adversity at times this season, because we're better than that. We were better than it last year. We're better than it the year before. You don't just become bad at that overnight, And I went on a bit of a long one on for the majority of the post match. That's what I focused on an awful lot as well. That I'm beginning to get worried about. Obviously the incident in that game was the red card, but the incident the pieces of this season have been the early goals and the kind of getting floppy during adversity, instead of puffing out your chest and trying to face up to it. I've spoken about that quite a lot this year, and for parts of last year as well, so having a Vinnie Jones type or in there that can rally troops and maybe be a limited footballer sometimes isn't a bad thing. But I don't even know where he'd fit into this team, someone like that. But anyway,
well, he wouldn't be sent off every week.
Yeah, exactly. And then we'd probably be so numb to it, we wouldn't be giving out about sending offs. Paddy, do you think Villa have a chance of winning this game?
I think they have a very good chance of winning this game, and I will be bitterly disappointed if they don't. Bitterly disappointed. Yeah. Because this has to become our springboard now, and our moment where we go on and win 4 out of those 5 games that I spoke about. I think they're winnable games. West Ham, Leicester.
West Ham were awful today. Jeepers.
Awful.
Leicester looked good today. West Ham were awful today.
Yeah. You can't really judge Leicester. Jesus, Vardy can't stay on side anymore. He's not. He used to have that bit of pace where he could stand off 5 yards and make the late run. He just doesn't have it anymore. I think you notice today Leicester kicking the ball long. They have no. I think a press against Leicester. We'll talk about that next week. But I think a press against Leicester will really rattle them for us. But we've got to get over one step at a time. Tomorrow is a big step. They're right behind us in the league. As I said, they haven't won in 7 or 8 games. Haven't won since November. The time is now. Go, turn the screw. A few players need to stand up and be counted, and I expect them. I expect a backlash. I expect a performance. For that reason alone, I expect a 3 at the back, because I think it just makes us more solid and allows the rest of the lads to go and attack. So it'll be an interesting team sheet tantrum to see what he comes up with. But yeah, go with the 3 at the back and go for the jugular. That's what we need to do tomorrow.
Yeah, I think so too. And we will see you for a team sheet tantrum tomorrow so it's 7:45 kick. So you're talking 6:30. Oh God, I'm not going to be happy. Just she who is to be obeyed will not be happy. It's bang on bedtime for the young fella. Like, so if I'm not here for the start of the team sheet tantrum, you'll know why. If I miss team sheet tantrums, it's because one of the two has to be put to bed. And usually my little girl wants only me and me only. And she goes down usually around 7:15. So I can get in and out usually for a tantrum and back for the tantrum inside as she's supposed to go to sleep. But if I have to put the other fella down, if he decides he wants me, I will be late for the team sheet tantrum. So just in case anyone thinks that I'm taking time off, or I'm not treating team sheet tantrums with the reverence that I normally do. It ain't worth the hassle, I'm going to be honest. to get screamed at for an hour afterwards by my children.
I don't miss those days. How many times have I said those words to you?
Yeah. So we will be back with a team sheet tantrum tomorrow. So what did I say? 6:30, 6:25 that way, and we'll know what the state of play is there then, and we'll be back with a post match afterwards to discuss everything that went on. As I yawn, so I'm going to leave you at that one. A bit of an earlier one today. Again, for anybody if you're catching this at the end and you don't want to hear about Newcastle, forward past the first 12 minutes of this podcast, and then you'll get into the nuts and bolts of the Brighton discussion. If you do want to go back and you want to relive it, go back and listen to it all. Paddy gets very sweary at the start. Anyway, we'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thanks a million. Stay safe, stay healthy, and all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.